ended up making peppermint.
That one's empty.
Oh shit! Already beat us to it.
It's a long way over here. James. But you always need a place to put pins when you're playing this game, so I have to build boards to put pins in.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you've ever seen a game like this when you were a kid.
I'm trying to remember.
The object of the game is to end up with only one peg left on the board. So
By jumping.
By jumping, right? So that's one way to play the game. Another way to play the game is to start with that one. That changes the game completely.
Does it?
Start with that one. That changes the game completely. It's one like this is the same as that one. That one changes the game completely as well.
Yeah, it would.
So it's the game that keeps on getting figured out. And then it's got the place to put the pigs. And this one here is Pythagoras game. Again, the same thing. You have to make something because the kids were playing with it and they kept losing the pegs, right?
Yeah.
So we can flat to the side top.
And the amazing part about this particular, it's Pythagoras dealing with the Pythagoras theorem. But the kids will play this game without really realizing it. Once they figure out how they're playing this game, whenever they get into school and start talking about the Pythagorean theorem, things will fall into place because it brings over here to the triangle and the interrelationship. It's amazing. Very well. I'll start it.
Oh yeah.
So there is a.
Now it's what it's supposed to be.
It's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a thought-provoking.
And what's the object here?
The object here is so you start off as
One empty.
and then you've got to go. You've got to jump to remove it.
Somebody with a hell of a good hand.
And then the other way to play the game is to have them all off and count 1, 2, 3 to put a peg in.
Oh yeah.
Always have to start on an open hole.
Oh yeah.
It's a little difficult. This one here is pretty straightforward too.
Yeah. Start center hole.
And this one,
What your names are you, Bert?
Find it?
Well, that's I thought it was turning. It's a gimbal. Yes, gimbal phone. And that's about it. I spent 7 years on a cell phone. I know all the little gimbal phones.
Bird's cut. Yeah. Bird's there. He built his. He built that. Not too many.
Selling money. The items that I make.
I think it's about 600.
Such a while, it's going to be the It's just that fumes anyway, so it don't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
I got one of these on the bill, a big one.
Yeah.
It is. It had the lost center at one end of one of them. I ended up grabbing the big end. The little end still had a center. Like headstock, I grabbed it with a scroll gun. I questioned him on it, and he said, well, it's only for produce. It worked pretty well. Yeah, those are pretty much around the same. Something's illegal, something more serious.
Oh,
Right, like that. Right now or later?
oh,
Well, it's just over the last
that's Bert.
years. Yeah, Bert. The baby doesn't fit its own. Not that rascal, Bert.
Yep, yep,
That's funny.
yep, yep. You used to play a lot of
This guy has all kinds of
kids.
stuff.
And this too, yep.
Yeah, these are really nice. Selling it or what? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm a member of the Chiefs. Much better. All this is property.
Yeah, yep.
I should have some kind of boring where I was at one of their meetings.
I think you got one of those now.
I said something. I built one years ago.
Yeah,
Boring where?
go over to your metal, stuff like that, you can do that.
I'll be able to. I'll pick it up. Well, that's not good.
Except the,
Especially open. When they're closed, that's all right.
Nobody's ever gonna say that's
That's better.
find a chair.
Looks like wood, yeah. We do get call for you, don't worry.
That's right. I just got here.
And he'll
Oh, yeah.
Do the girls.
Alrighty, welcome back to our first meeting of the fall, winter meeting, I'm not sure what it is. Thanks for coming out. That's good. So this meeting, last year we talked about not having show and tell at every meeting. We would have meetings that were only show and tell, and we'd have meetings that were only turn out, because it ended up with a lot of the things that folks wanted to go demo and the turning. An hour wasn't enough time, or an hour and a half. So this is our first kick at the all show and tell meeting. Obviously, we have a good bunch of stuff there. A few bottles of wine I got my eye on.
It's already empty.
No stews isn't. Yeah, it was probably water. You know, the stew
He
comes
knows to
with
stay
wine.
away from there. He knows to stay away.
Yeah, so this is the first kick at the all show and tell. And we will go through, Jeff will photo everything as we go by. I don't know where the little name tags are so that you can put them with your pieces, but there is a roll of the tickets that we used from last year, and it's got name, swap for name and that on the back. If you get a chance, go stick that by your stuff. Some of the other things that we wanted to talk about is, well, I guess insurance is coming up for the guild, which is always the worst time of year for us. That's our largest expense. The folks, we're insured through the Canadian Woodturners Society. And it's a group insurance plan that does everybody all across Canada, pretty much. I don't think there's anybody that has their own insurance. It gives us a bit of a cut rate, but Jeff, what did we pay last year? It was like $1,400.
Yeah, something like that. Around that number, yeah.
Which is pretty dear, so it all depends on what you're insuring. Equipment costs are high for insurance, so we decided to drop a whole bunch of our equipment to replacement value because of depreciation. If we were to lose everything in a fire here or somebody broke in and went specifically for our equipment, we've got 6 ways of using our classes that aren't worth a whole lot. We have a big one-way lathe that does hold some value yet, a couple of TVs and AV equipment that is worth something. So we'll see what the folks come up with for an offer to, I believe it was cooperators insurance. They're looking at doing all they can.
Weren't we insured through AAW before?
No.
No, AAW does nothing for Canadians.
Oh, okay.
Some of the other parts of the insurance are personal insurance. If you were to have a market, you would be insured. If you're a club member, I asked for a breakdown of everything, what that's going to cost, what our replacement costs, insurance will, the cost, the premiums are replacement insurance. Also the deductibles, because sometimes when you look at things, if you've got $1,000 deductible on $5,000 worth of equipment, it's probably not worth it if it's costing you $800 a year. Yeah. As that comes through, I'll let everyone know. Are there any new folks here tonight? Stand up. No. What's your name and what's your experience and where are you from?
My name's Nevin, and I get about 6-7 months now. And yeah, I guess I'm Edmonton here, on the north side.
Good. Welcome.
I'm Stephen Thompson. Oh, woodworking all my life, but turning maybe 5-6 years.
And you were from St. Albert, you said?
No, I'm from West End of Edmonton.
Oh,
East End
okay.
of Edmonton, but I sell at the St. Albert Farmers Market.
Okay. So yeah, that insurance, if we do go with that to cover members, that's one part, I guess, of our comprehensive insurance. But we'll find out, because you have to have insurance for your market. All the other guilds in Canada are complaining about the cost of insurance. A lot of them are dropping insurance altogether and just going self-insured because with the deductible prices, it's just not worth it anymore, depending on how much equipment you have. so that's new folks, that's insurance. What else do we have? There's still more new folks.
I think Mr. Donovan had his hand up as a new cook.
Ah,
My name's Mike. I'm from Edmonton. Been turning for about 4 years. Learned from this guy right here.
I think you rode before, weren't you?
Oh, I don't?
Yeah.
No, first time.
Okay.
I heard from the back, YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. Check our YouTube.
Yeah.
So, if we want to start somehow, like, if you have any questions, give me a shout. Meadow, did you want to talk about?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, no.
Okay, well, yeah. So anyways, some of you know that back in, what year was that? 2017.
1700?
Yeah, maybe. We as a club put together a big platter for the 150th anniversary of Canada. And it's a 66-inch platter that a whole bunch of us worked on. And it's a beautiful platter and has all kinds of stuff on it for the different provinces and the map of Canada. And so we've sort of exhausted places. We want to have it placed someplace, where people can see it. Right now, you can't see it because it's in Stu's garage.
And he charges.
Yeah, that's right. That's
That
right.
should cover our church, shouldn't it?
So anyways, I guess I have a niece who works with the 3 museums in Ottawa, and so she's agreed that she will approach some of the people that know there and see if we can find a placement for this platter. And I used to be more involved with our club, and I just asked if I needed permission to write that letter, so that, and I've taken a couple of books about the platter so that we can see if we can find a home for it, because Stu thinks that it's in the road for his RV there and stuff. Right? So,
Yeah, I gotta watch
but
that.
It's
anyways,
so tight in the shop.
yeah, that's right, tight in his shop, yeah. So anyways, if it's okay, if you have any objection, please come see me, but I think I will, otherwise I'll proceed and try and find a place for
Yeah,
it.
it's a beautiful plaque, and all the guild members from back then worked on it, and we need to put it somewhere.
University might be a place as well, if locally, if you want to keep it in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Either at McEwen or University of Alberta. I know that the U of A's got collections,
Oh, is that right? Okay.
and lots of public spaces. University Commons, which is the old dentistry pharmacy building, right, is being finished up at a big renovation. Would be something they'd be willing to display.
Bill Nestor and I were quite active trying to find a place in Edmonton for it, and we had a smaller platter that's ended up at the Discovery Place in Devon, at the oil place, and we have it there. But this bigger one, we didn't have much luck with it. So, but I'll talk with you afterwards. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, if you want to maybe pass one of those books around to folks that don't know about it, could just have a little booth.
Yeah.
We've got others that are sealed in there. So.
You guys will see. Well, look.
Yeah, it's quite the feat to turn something that large.
Thank you.
So, if folks want to start, run over to your stuff or your buddy's stuff and show that off. Say it's yours.
So again, we tried to do some hybrid meetings last year, and we were partially successful, but the technological aspect of doing a hybrid meeting with Zoom and live, it's beyond my capabilities, so I'm not doing it. And I guess if I'm not doing it, unless somebody that really wants to get involved in technology, it's not that difficult. I just can't do it. I don't have the brain capacity to get Zoom and socialize at the same time. So we're not doing the Zoom hybrid meeting. But what I am doing tonight is I've got both cameras set up. So one of them is looking at the group here, and the other one's focused on the show and tell table. So as you come up to talk about your pieces, if you can stand somewhere in front of that camera, like halfway down the table, you'll be in frame here. And the audio is on, so we'll record it. And then we can post that to the Edmonton Woodturners Guild site. And then if anybody's homebound and can't get to the meeting, well, at least they can see our show and tell. So I'm okay with doing that technological part of it because that's simple. I already set it up and it's just gonna run.
It's just running, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just too much work to try to do the hybrid meeting.
And we'll be able to do the same when we do demos and stuff, when we have a lathe out here and do demos. Well, we'll set the cameras up, record that just like we're doing tonight, and we'll record it. And then after the meeting, we can post it, and then it's available for people to look again, later on. Or if people can't make the meeting, at least they know there'll be something coming out of Jill.
You just have to convince some kid that's about 6, 7 years old to come in and do it for you.
Yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. I mean, we need more people to help out, so if anybody's got any interest at all or knows something about it, by all means.
Yeah, we've got the equipment.
We've got the equipment now, we just need to share the knowledge so more people know how to hook it up. And it's not hard. I mean, it's half a dozen wires and a computer. It's not difficult, but again, I'm burnt myself out on trying to do too much, so I'm trying to back off from it.
The last meeting last year was a little bit terrifying. Like I said, the next meeting will be a demo for the whole meeting, so if you have any ideas on what you'd like to see turned, whether it's a spindle or a bowl or anything like that, any type of turning, let us know, and I'll contact Jeff and he'll do it for us next month.
If I could just inject me on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, I remember the wig stands that everybody's going to build through the summer months. Well, we got 20. So we've already delivered 36, so we're ahead of the game right now. So if you feel like you really want to turn a wig stand, just go right ahead and bring it to the next meeting. They've been very well received. They fly off the shelf at the Cross Cancer Institute. Everybody loves them. So those that have done the donations really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to maybe another project for next year. So if anybody's got any ideas as to what might be a good cause, and we can find out what's good to them, then maybe we'll throw it out there again and see if anybody's interested in making some donations. Anyway, thanks for that.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, Jeff kind of kicked it out, and Bert saw it on some site, and Jeff says we should do that. So we communicated our club doing that. We have folks from Red Deer, Calgary, Lethbridge, and Great Falls as part of our group. So when we sent out the emails about the wig stand project, everybody else got on board. So everybody from Great Falls, Montana, up here have been making wig stands and donating to their local institutes. And also, I'm a member of the Victoria Woodturners Guild. So I sent that out to them, and they're doing it in Victoria too. So that's a great idea. So thank you all for those of you that have done so many things. All right. Who's the master?
Talking about wig stands as well, Alberta Health Services came to my shop and did a video to find out a little bit more about the wig stand program. And so I said, well, what do you want to see? And he was just going to interview us and ask questions. And I had a bunch of blanks sitting there. I said, well, I can show you how we make them. And so they videotaped for an hour and a half while I made a wig stand. And then when he left the shop, we already had some that were already finished. So he took those and went to the Cross Cancer Institute to finish his video for that day. And I'm not sure when it's going to air, but it's going to air on Global sometime. Right? So they took an hour and a half of shot video and crunched it down to 2 minutes, and he did a really good job of it.
Actually, it was 4 hours, but they chopped it down to 2 minutes.
Okay. Let's try to do more.
So at least that guy knows how to do it.
It's a lot of fun.
Come do it, yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Next one, Dick, you're telling me you gotta turn it about.
Yeah.
Turn the speed up on the way.
Yeah, it's on is it on the YouTube or our webpage? But I don't know now. I've seen it on the webpage. We put it on the web or YouTube.
It should be on YouTube, Edmonton Woodturners Guild, I believe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know I've seen it. I just can't remember. Too far.
So ready to start with the,
Sure. I've got one in here right now, so I'll take the photograph of this one, so it's not one
Okay, well, we'll sit up back on the table and they'll start on this end. Method to my madness, I let everybody else put their stuff up. And then I thought, well, I'll have mine up close enough so I can get mine out of the way first. So one of the projects that I've been working on just recently, there's a fellow from the UK who was at a meeting on Lancaster Woodturners Hour on Thursday morning, and he showed napkin holders. And so I sent him an email and he sent me his instructions. And by the end of that week, I made a dozen of them. I only have one left at home. So this week, I had to make, I got the blanks cut to 10 more. 4 of them just went to Calgary. They've been really, really popular. They're simple to do. And I made a video of making this one. And it's on my channel for a while on YouTube. And so I put on how I make these things. Doesn't take much wood. And they're really, really functional. You put the napkins in here and set them on the table, and the wind doesn't blow them away. Come pick the table. The kids love them, my wife loves them, everybody that's got one is just like, wow, it's so simple and so functional.
So the instructions, Bert, have you posted them or?
The instructions are in the video. So I was going to write up some instructions, and I thought, well, I'm making a video, so I explain the process in the video. So I'll go on, look up Bert Delisle on YouTube, and that'll be the most recent one that I put on there.
We saw today, Bert, a guy that had taken your design
Yeah,
and put a little cup on the top for toothpicks instead of just a handle.
exactly. And it isn't my design. It was Donald Smith from the UK. He gave us the original idea. I modified mine a little bit, but everybody can modify. And I'd like to say the guy this morning had a little cup on top of toothpicks, so it's a napkin holder with toothpicks. I've had a request for one with salt and pepper shakers. So you can do anything you want with them. These things are small little games. I don't know how many people have played this game when they were kids, but you basically try and jump the peg over another peg and try and end up with only one peg left.
In the center?
In the peg, as long as you end up with one peg left, it doesn't matter where it's at. But I had one of these and grandkids were playing with it and they kept losing the pegs. So I turned a little bowl. So when they're playing the game, they can take when they jump, you can just drop the peg in a bowl so they don't lose the pegs anymore. And so a simple project. And again, I like making things for kids to get them thinking. So this is called the Pythagoras game. And Pythagoras' theorems dealing with triangles. Well, you give this to little kids, they don't know anything about Pythagoras. But when they play this game, the rules are like, whoops. So the rules on this game is you have to start somewhere. So you take a peg out, and then you try and jump and take the pegs out, and end up with one peg again. There's only one solution to it. And the amazing thing is with the little people, when they were doing it, they tried it 3 or 4 times until one of them got it. And then they were explaining to the other kids the action you have to take. So these kids had nothing to do with geometry or whatever, but they'd already understood Pythagoras' theorem just by playing with this silly little game. So when they get to school and start learning a little bit more about it, their brain space is already there. I mean, I love these kind of games to make, and they're simple. They don't take much wood. And again, they started losing the pegs, so I made them a little bowl so that they could put the pegs in the little bowl. And again, small peg games. The object of this game is to move all 4 of these pegs to this side, these 4 to this side, but you can't move backwards. So I gave this to my granddaughter, and 30 minutes later she had it down cold. I gave one of these to Stu Bender, he still can't figure it out.
For 3 days.
You get them all in line at the same time.
It's amazing how something as simple as this is a great conversation piece. I had people visiting the other day, and we put one on the table, and both people were over 80 years old, and they were just enthralled. They were having a blast trying to figure out how to beat each other on it. So the little people like it, and older people like it as well. So it's always fun to make little game pieces. And of course, people were asking what was I turning this summer? Well, Stu gave me a picture. So a friend of his had a wine tipper. So this is it's the bottle stopper. But so this thing will swing back and forth. It's got a nautical theory or nautical theme to it. And I think probably because if it's on a boat, you won't spill your wine when you're jumping over the waves, right? It'll just swing back and forth. But this one was the first one. I didn't have any dimensions. I just had to make it. So I made it, and then I sent Stu a picture of it, and he ended up, we'll talk about his too. But one of the interesting things that we came up with is how to hold the bottle. This thing here is threaded, so that you can take all different sizes of bottles. Not all wine bottles are the same. So in order to keep the bottle from flopping around, we had to come up with this. And Stu actually came up with the threaded design, and I actually threaded it for him.
So Stu either thought you were really smart or he didn't like you, eh?
Well, probably a little of both. He was giving me a hard time because he's got one now, and I said, well, you got to make it on a nice stand, but you got to use a nautical theme for the stand. And he's been using Sleek trying to figure out how he's going to make a carousel for his wine glasses. So, yeah.
Yeah, very.
It kind of works the same as the napkin holder.
Pardon? Yeah.
You just make it kind of bigger.
Yeah. No, it's practical, right? It's practical. So I don't know who's next. Whose objects are here?
Oh, that would be me.
Okay, well, go for it.
Okay. You guys remember this from the last meeting where I said I had a design issue? Bird said, make a lid for it. So
Perfect.
that's Mountain Ash. This is poplar. And what I was going for when I was making that originally was one of these. And so now I finally finished my trifecta, and these are my light fixtures, the light lampshades to go in the kitchen, and I got a $10 IKEA kit here, and it fits in all three of them, but I haven't bought the other two. So got a set of 3, and that's just out of the firewood pile, poplar, and
That's poplar.
that's poplar.
Wow, that's beautiful color.
Spalted. It was
Yeah.
sitting in the wood pile for a while.
That's gorgeous.
And I saw on Pinterest a bowl that looked like this. I went, how the heck are you going to make that? Because, 2 different colors. And so I figured it out. You stain it. So, I've done 2 of them now. This one's not quite finished. I haven't quite signed it, but I want to do a set of them, and got the Dremel out and did some embellishment, and I'm quite happy with it. Just from a picture from Pinterest, going, how did you do that? So. If you look closely, you can see a little overspillage on the stone. It looks so close.
Okay, can I have some for photograph, please? You ain't too much. If you're not too worried about me photographing your equipment, that is. Yeah, not very much.
So who have we got next with this unit you're looking at?
Is it really thin enough to actually light up?
So all of these are first time things. This one, I don't know, it's probably over a year ago now.
I'm just.
My first, this is,
I remember that one.
this, well, it's not my first foray into resin, but I was gifted a whole bunch of Manitoba maple burl. And I did a few salad bowls and did resin. We actually did a video on that one. Then I had all these cutoffs, and I thought, well, I think I can make some vases. So I made a little 4x4 mold and put one on the bottom and then filled the rest with with epoxy, and that was the first one. My wife claimed it. I know I probably made about six or seven. I think I've got this one and one other one at home. The rest are all gone.
What's the finish?
Eh?
What's the finish?
I think this one's white pond ball. Like I said, that's over a year ago.
I know, oh, yes, right.
I maybe on a good day tell you what I did yesterday, but I think he's already got a picture of that one. And this, I had an idea that I could probably use my CNC to incorporate something into my segmented turning. So a couple of tries, and this one's still not perfect, but it's not bad. Getting close to what I had envisioned. So these pieces were cut out on my CNC router, and then just assembled onto just a standard segmented thing. And the inlay here, that also was done with my CNC router. And this is just a little, I think it's another piece of that Manitoba maple that I got. Had a couple of spots that weren't very good that broke out around the pith. And I think it was a guy, Jim Sprague, who's a YouTuber that does a lot of this kind of stuff, and epoxy now, and so that looks like a neat idea. So I did that, and it sat in my shop for a long time, and I recently acquired a better laser than I had, so I thought, I'm going to add a little bit of design in the bottom of it too. So, and this, again, this is a piece of cedar. Spent probably more than 30 years on the front of my old house in Stony Plain. And when we re-sided it, because it was 2-inch wide planks, so I kept those. Otherwise, they were probably going to go in the burn pile. And I don't know, probably turned that thing about 5 years ago, and then I thought, maybe I could do a little design on the rim with the laser, so I did. And this is pretty easy because it's flat. Again, this is with the laser. This is, I had to create a rotary axis that was tippable. So because of the laser, you got to turn it so that the flat, keeps it fairly flat, not all that forgiving. So basically that's how I had a chuck on here and rotate it around, and that's how I got that on the outside edge. A whole lot of playing.
A lot of indexing.
Actually, no, the software used for laser is called Lightburn. And basically what you do when you lay it out, it's flat in a straight line, and the computer doesn't know that it's round. You just tell it based on the diameter, you build your pattern so that it fits within that exact dimension. Like diameter times pi gives you the length.
So you gotta taper the design then, because the diameters are different as you move down the hole.
No, I didn't.
You can tell computers all sorts of lies and nobody.
Yeah. And if you looked at this closely, you'll see that this is slightly tighter, but it needs to be for the pattern to fit in there. And you have a closer look, but it's not that much different because he just thinks it's flat the way it goes. That's pretty much it.
Good.
As I spend the winters down in Mesa, Arizona, with a really nice wood shop. I turned this mesquite last year, turned a few of them. This one I left with a ridge inside so that I could put a cap on.
Last week I turned a cap out of mesquite, and mesquite doesn't like turning like that sometimes, and it ended up in multiple pieces. So I ended up doing it out of figured maple, put a blackwood knob on it. I may redo it, I'm not. My original idea was to have this cap only slightly over the natural edge, but my wife likes it, so that's what it ended up.
Is that pierced on the top?
What's that?
Is it pierced?
No,
Oh, it's just embellished.
just burned.
Yeah, okay.
So do you bag up all your shavings and bring them home for barbecue season?
What do you think? This is this one is done in Cocobolo. Why I brought it in is that I used to do a lot of these shaving sets, especially when Gord Langer was at the market and doing the Butterdome sales. I sold some through a gallery that I belong to in Beaumont, but I'm retired from that now. So if anybody is interested in hardware, I have quite a bit of it. It's from William Woodwright. I'll sell to you for a lot better price than William has, because I don't need it anymore.
How much do you sell that set for, Rick?
I think I had that on 165.
165?
Part of it depends on what the knot is.
Yeah.
That is not high-end knot. I also have, well, if anybody's interested, I will tell you where to buy knots from in China.
So I was in Mesa in March. Were you at Monte Vista by any chance?
Via Del Oro.
Okay. The reason I mentioned it, it was an amazing gated community, the brand new wood shop about like this, and 7 lathes, and guys to mentor you every time that you were in there. I learned amazing things. Plus, I was able to get some wood that I've never had before. I bought a plank of Paduke. It was about this long. I've got 5 blanks off it. The shadings are so dramatic. They're just bright, bright orange. It's interesting. This one is a blue leaf maple. And they say the skill level of a turner is how he can hide his mistakes. And my faceplate screws went through and came out here. And we tried to channel it and fill it and paint it. We just took the wood burning tool and did. And this one, also blue leaf maple. It's a salt cellar. C-E-L-L-A-R. And it works with it. It's on a magnet finish. Beautiful, beautiful wood. It looks like cork. Thanks.
Where's that wood from?
That was in Arizona, but the guy, it could have been from Texas. The guy that brought in a truck with him, so.
He's kicking me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm next. I don't know if we're going to show this in the camera or not.
You have a corkscrew to go with that bottle?
No, I don't.
How are you going to demonstrate that then?
We're not going to. I can sneak this in here. The camera pick it up there, Bert?
Yeah, or you might go back on the other, this
back
end of
over
the
here?
next table, yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that'll be perfect there.
Okay.
Move that, yeah, there you go.
Well, as Bert was explaining, he's got his wine tipper there too, and I started this whole performance. My neighbor down the street from me came over one day and he showed me this picture on his phone of one of these things. He was at a birthday party in Saskatchewan, and an 82-year-old lady got one for a gift. Well, I took one look at this and I was quite interested, and I got to try and make one of these. The next day, Keith showed up with 3 copies of 8.5 by 11 sheet with a colored picture of this thing. So right away, I gave one to Bert. I said, hey, check this out. Next thing you know, I think it was the next day or 2 days later, he was already starting to build his.
There's 29 pieces to make.
Is that how many there is?
Yeah.
I think I got more in mine. I know I do.
Okay, I got 32 in mine.
You haven't got
Yeah, you got the pin.
moose antler nipples in there.
Yeah, I had 29, so he had to beat that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got at it and I started throwing this thing together, and all I had to go on was this picture. There's no plans or anything. I don't know where it came from. I think it originated from Germany or Austria or something, because it's got some weird print on all over it, and I don't know what it says. But anyway, I come up with some different ideas for it. The original doesn't have screw caps to hold this piece together. We threaded these 2 posts.
Heavy on the weed.
Yeah, I was there. I helped. Okay, to make this piece, I come up with this accidentally, really. It was one of the hiccups that I had as along the way. But I gotta say, every piece that I made in this, I used. I didn't throw anything away and remake it. I managed to alter one item, that was this piece. And the rest of it is just it's what I started with, so I got lucky, I guess. But
Well, I'm not lucky, I had to rebuild mine.
yeah, right. I had to show them what to do. But anyway, an important part about this is the adjustment on the tension on the bottle. When you put this on here, it's adjustable to bring the tension onto the bottle to hold it in place.
So how did you make the threads?
The thread adapter for on the lathe. Bert has one, and there's a fellow south of Red Deer that's making a threader that's just about in production, if not already. But there is different equipment that you can get. But the nice feature about this, I find, there's lots of different shapes of bottles, and I was concerned about that when I made it. Are they all going to fit? Well, I had 4 or 5 different bottles that I tried, and I made a 2-step
And they're all full when you
dish.
start.
Yeah. And then the height of the bottle, where it starts to taper, and they're different. But the nice thing about it, we actually stumbled onto this. Bert was over for supper one night here this last week, I think it was, and the bottle that I had in there was actually loose, and this was screwed all the way down. It was still a little bit slack in there. And Bert says, why don't you just flip that over? Well, why didn't I think of that? You know, I need Bert.
So if you take a look at the way they're set up there, his knob is going in on the top with the thick part, and on mine it's upside down. And that was basically to demonstrate that one's got the high neck and this one's got the shallow neck. So mine is flipped over. If I put that bottle in my tipper, I'd have to flip my bar over to be able to do it. So one's upside down, showing you that that's one way to do it, and Stu's is the other way. So,
but it makes it universal, so you can use different bottles in it. So I thought it's kind of neat. I haven't found a bottle yet that doesn't fit. But I'm trying to bottle yet.
Keep trying.
He's trying lots of bottles that do fit, because I can be witness to that. Because my wife was over there, and Jan, did you want? Oh yes, please. He got a lot of exercise. It's probably wore out by now, so you should maybe just give it up to someone. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that ain't gonna work then.
But I had to add a little character to it, and I come up with the idea of some buttons on here. Did you tell me that one? No, I think I caught up with that one. Anyway, these little buttons are moose antler, and I capped these off with the moose antler, and also on the caps on the ship's wheels, I put some more moose antler in there. Got a good variety of woods in it: maple, cherry, amboina, black walnut, teak. This piece of teak that I have here is got some sentimental value to me too. When I was in school, I actually bought a big chunk of teak from a guy. I don't know where I got a hold of this guy, but anyway, I bought a huge piece of teak. It's about 2.5 inches thick and 16, 18 inches wide, and at the time I bought it, it was 4 feet long. I bought it for $5. So, and I still have some. So I had to use a piece on my tipper for that, so. But anyway, if anybody's interested in maybe going to try and make one, get a hold of either Bert or I, because there's a few secrets in here that would be very helpful for you if you're trying to put something together. Yeah, but it's quite a challenge.
It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun making this. Yeah.
Don't drop
I was, if I,
You got it?
drop it,
it. You'll see the bottle, won't you? I know you.
I'm looking to have a few tips.
Anyway, that's all I brought today.
You worked really well the Lamb's Navy run there, Stu.
I didn't do any turning this summer. I thought I'd get back into it a little bit, and the project that I was thinking about doing would probably benefit from a steady rest, so I thought, well, I'll start by making one. I've seen pictures of this type of steady rest, I don't know, here and there. I think they're fairly popular, so I drew up the plans out of my head just to fit my lathe, and I had almost everything. I even had actually the inline skate wheels. I had bought a set from my neighbor for $5 in a garage sale, and I just threw away the skates and kept the wheels, but they were sort of black and ugly, so I went and bought these because they look a little niftier. So, but other than that, it's just Baltic birch, and yeah, that's what you see is what you get.
Have you used it?
Yeah, I just tried it out yesterday, as a matter of fact, just on a spindle. I haven't tried it on anything big, but I just finished it up on Monday or Tuesday.
Are you building those to sell?
No. But if you want one, I would draw up the plans for your lathe, to suit your lathe. This is for, my lathe is a 624. It's a one-way 12-inch. That's as big as it goes, type of thing. So,
Do you do any hollowing with the laser pointer?
not yet, no.
Plan on it?
Yeah.
You'll be cussing that center post on the top.
Yeah.
You sure will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing, and
That's the guest section.
well, I built mine because of the way I do my large segmented vessels. I do them in 2 halves, and then when you go to finish the top, of course, when you see my big vases, they went 2 feet, and it worked fine for that. And then I decided, well, I'll try some laser hollowing, and guess what? The things stick it up. Anyway, all the time. So if you got that in mind, you have to really be thinking of it. I think the easiest way would be to go with 4 wheels, so you got kind of like this. And then your whole top is clear for either laser or camera.
You can't go over the top of it. It doesn't, like you just miss that much of it, or what's
Well, my setup, because it sticks up too far. So I guess you could build it so it goes up over the top, but you need quite an extension. Most of the hollowing, the one I use most is pretty set height.
Yeah.
No adjustment on it. I mean, I use the big deep hollowing bar that you got from Wagner they were selling. That would be good to adjust it up, but the smaller one I use, the smaller, the 12 and stuff like that. Yeah. Because I just found out the hard way. You have the same problem?
Go next. Had two pieces of Manitoba maple, but embellished and stained, and a coat of wipe-on poly, and then a piece of spalted wood that I was given that they didn't even know what it was, and turned it, and it came out with a really neat design inside. So two quick projects. And then had a Lazy Susan kicking around the house for quite a few years. It was never ever used. So modified that into just a platter. It's made out of bamboo and finished with orange wax. So it's food grade, of course. The centerpiece here where the Lazy Susan fastened together is filled with a piece of ebony that I had. So, any questions?
How does that turn? How does the bamboo turn?
Really good. Really good.
Scrapers or gouges?
Either one. Either
Oh,
one.
okay.
It's really easy. Yeah.
Like cutting grass.
Just about, yeah. Yeah.
What's orange wax? I haven't heard the term orange wax.
Orange wax, yeah, is a Lee Valley sells.
Oh.
You get a small can of it's paste wax,
Yeah.
and yeah, it has a really nice, fairly strong orange smell, but that disappears after a week or so.
Well, that won't be as bad as other types of smells you can get out of wood product.
No, that's right. Yeah,
Is it paste or is it liquid?
it's a paste.
Oh, okay, 'cause I've heard of bean wax, which has citrus in it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Whoever is next here.
The Chatoyance inside this is great. You get a chance to take a look at it, really. It's just gorgeous.
Look out sometimes.
What?
I was saying he was pointing out that.
I
See,
don't know
look
where
out
to
sometimes.
start here, but I'll start with your.
But your mother-in-law in there?
Is it rented out? Did you rent that thing out?
No.
Nobody's in there, eh?
It is for sale.
Oh.
This is, I had this different, it was ripped out and had a piece on the top. And the problem I was having with that was too tall to fit in the tall area. So then I changed the design to this here, so I cut that all off. And then I turned this separate. So,
What's its height now, about 12 inches? What's its height now?
The height.
Oh, we're around the 10 inches, something like that. I'll have to measure. But anyway, this is American elm, not Manchurian elm, and it's one of the very nicest, one of my favorite woods, because if you look at this, you can see all the flecking in there that you bring out if you use the right spade and all that thing. And this is turned with my articulating arm that I make, which is the best one on the market. That's what.
Mine's good
that's
too.
what- Somebody asked him what to buy, and he said, buy mine, mine's the best one on the market. And it is, it's sturdy, and there's 25 of them out there. You ask anybody and they'll say that they like it. And then that's finished with all body purple.
So you got the highlights on the stain, did you? You got the highlights on staining it?
Yeah. And what I use a proof wood stain I would not. The one I like. I've got solid elm furniture in the house, so I can try to copy that. They used to have a factory in Burleyville, Quebec, where they made elm furniture. I told you, they couldn't get any more trees.
I've been making stuff out of elm, and I don't get that definition in the
Okay.
frame.
Use that wood not crude wood stain. And what I do is I coat it first with a real light coat of shellac. Cut back quite a bit with alcohol. And I put that on first so that it doesn't soak up too much.
Right.
Otherwise it gets too dark.
Seal it a little bit then.
Yeah, see it a wee bit, because otherwise it gets too dark and then you don't see the fleck. You know, it doesn't stand up.
I have to try that. I've got all kinds of elm that just
And then what's the
attractive.
American, no?
Locals, all, you know, whatever grows around here. It's just,
Dutch elm.
that's, well,
No, no. That's
a disease.
That's elm is the disease.
Okay.
You're talking about the disease. Yeah.
The Edmonton
Like
elm.
the Roy Minister, they planted lots of trees. And in some places they're American elm, but you can't. They won't let you use them. They want to bury that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like I had, they cut 2 trees down at my neighbor's place, and I had a hard time getting some wood from them.
cost me a case of beer.
Well, I showed them.
You can either chip it or you can give it to me.
And they sort of kind of left the blocks around there for us
Yeah.
to steal, so they did, because they could lose their job if they find out that they've been doing it away.
I hear a chainsaw and start wondering.
Yeah. So that's the story behind that. How many cubic inches does that hold? About 200. Wow. Huh? Yeah, it's gotta be up in the 200, because you need a cubic inch for each pound, roughly. Then, I made a couple of pepper mills here. Like I've made a lot of pepper mills. But where's your plywood? Got some of this, well, maple leaf curly maple. So I just had to do that. I made these and then I coated these with water body coat.
Clear coat.
Good.
Nice finish.
So, then, I make a Christmas ornament. This one is made out of American elm. Just to show the gray. And this one here, a friend of mine brought me, put together using mulch wood. That's how that goes. And how I get to this, if you're interested, first, to get that to that size, you need more than 3/4 of an inch of plywood. So I took a sheet and I added on a 1/4 of an inch, and then after that, cut blocks like this and glued them together. The only thing is I do them about this long, and then I cut them. I slice them like this here, as it roll off. And then these here I turn this way, and then I've got a special tuck that I can hold that in and then go inside and turn if you want to, yeah. And so glue this together in a longer piece, and then cut it off. And the next thing I do, I use a grinder or a sander to sand this off, because when you go to turn that, because of the multi birch, it's got a tendency to slither off.
You know, you sliver one off, then you gotta go down to the next. And even at that, the secret is to turn real fast, sharp hills. And once you're past the feeling up on the top, your whole trip, then you end up with something like this. And I guess you can stop there, but if you're gonna make a Christmas tree ornament to put on the tree, it shouldn't be too heavy, eh? So, you can check inside there and see what kind of result they get. Actually, I especially made a tool
Yeah.
to do that, one of those, with the hunter cutter.
I made a tool too, it's called an Allen key, sharpened.
What?
I made a tool for hollowing small spears like that, and I just took an old Allen key and sharpened it, works like a damn. Put a handle on it, good to go.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what happened when you borrowed some, eh?
No, I lent him that key too.
One piece of wood is on,
I don't care.
it's kind of hollowed out. Then I have another piece of wood that's hollowed out. And then you hold that, start teaching you. They hold that and then come in. And they do that with other things too, because like, sometimes you've got something more exotic. Stuff that you put together, you don't want to use in the whole piece. There's a lot of magazines that you say you use the whole thing. I don't, I just use a small piece like that. Yeah, I have something else here to show you. This is, everybody's seen this pepper grinder, but it doesn't grind very much pepper, and it doesn't hold very much pepper.
But it looks cool.
So it's all show.
It looks
Yeah.
cool.
So this is a hybrid this year that I did. It's got this top part, and then it's got, there's got an extension that goes down, and then there's a ceramic, one of these ceramic grinders in here to divide it.
Just a 5 years from now.
These, I think, are probably the best grinder out there now, that you can't buy the Peugeot. The French grinder, the Peugeot, is very, very good. But,
Yeah, but they were all stainless steel and they look good for salt.
no, they weren't stainless steel.
No?
Not the Peugeot.
Were they ceramic like those?
No, but they have a stainless steel one you buy from the States, but it doesn't grind pepper like this.
No, those, the ceramic ones are the best, but Lee Valley's charging too much for them now. You can get them cheaper in other places.
KMS
Some of
is
the
cheap.
guys that I've been talking about, have got some from Woodwright, and they're not as good as these.
Yeah, if you go right to, I think it's Denmark where they're made, they'll tell you who's all dealer all over.
Oh, yeah, one of the values do charge.
They charge a premium.
Yeah, they charge premium.
Yeah,
And they
oh,
go,
the last time I looked, they're over $25 a piece now. You used to get it to 15.
$12
Well,
at
if you
KMS.
buy- if you
$12
buy
at
15
KMS to the
Mike.
12-inch one.
if you buy 15, you can get them for $20.
I know, that's what I used to do, but now, like I say, the price has gone way.
No, I just got them the other day for
Same
$20.
Because there are some knockoffs that aren't.
Woodcraft is the same as that.
Is it crushed grind? That brand is
No. Huh?
the brand crushed Seventeen America.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. I buy for the all the time. I used to do lots of them.
Anyway, this is, you can see here how this is mounted. I put a connector in here and then cut that off, put it in here, and then I've been countersinking these here so that they look nice. I made a cutter with a fly deal in it that goes down in there, and then it cuts, you cut that. The only thing is, the secret is this outside part here. I'm in the process of going to make a gig that you can put in there to do that. For anybody that's interested, I could be marketing that cheap if I have market for it. And then I have a request for somebody to look at this piece of wood. I'm trying to figure out what it is. Or what it could be.
It's a tree. It's onion with a music.
Those layers, yeah.
Anyway, that's,
It used to be a tree, like used to be. Chip off the old block.
this one here is gonna be like the one he took there, only it's gonna be, look like that. Gotta look like that. That's it for me.
No.
This little pot was inspired by John Jordan. He has a video. And first of all, he shows you how to make a hammer to do the lid. It's got to be. And this particular one was, I didn't realize it, but I used galvanized iron. And you go to light that up and it turns yellow. So I'm not sure what kind of toxic stuff came off of that, but anyway.
You'll know in a few months what it was.
Anyway, it's stained with procyon dye and white one folate. And this is a little piece of Manitoba maple that I didn't have the heart to throw away with a big void in there. And I tried to use two different colors of resin. It worked for the first lift, but the second one didn't. So it's kind of neat if you look at the bottom. You can see what I wanted it to do, but it didn't carry all the way through.
Yeah, I just brought a bowl. I'm fairly new, so this is a piece of wood that is out of Belgravia. A guy put on Kijiji that he dropped a bunch of trees in a yard to go. And I got some massive chunks of Manitoba maple pearl. So this is one of them. Lots of color in it, lots of figure. I still have probably about 6 or 7 ones that I can do that I did like a nested set with a coring jig. So yeah, more to come as I get through them. And I'm definitely interested in the shaving sets. And if anybody's at the Strathern Art Walk this weekend, stop by and say hi.
Thank you.
This is just
my summer works project. I turned these in the wintertime, it's just maple, and if you watch that Harvey Meyer presentation a couple of years ago, and I just have a small shop in my basement, so I don't do any wood burning or anything until summertime, and we have a deck beside a lake that we like to sit on, and so I do the wood burning, and then this is just India ink, and there's a good computer program if you're ever thinking of this, and you know how there's a computer program and it's free, it's just shareware that you can just design and put colors in until you see something that you like, and it works pretty well. So, and then just I haven't put just a spray coat of lacquer on the end of this, and you know it doesn't bleed and it works real well. So, anyway, that's my summer project. I have another one on the go that's almost finished, but you don't get to see it till it's done. So,
What's the name of that program, or who makes it?
yeah, if I could remember, I'd tell you. I was thinking about that in the truck on the way here that I couldn't remember, but I'll, yeah.
Send it to me and then
I will.
get Terry to put it
I
on the
will,
website.
yeah, because it's just shareware, and it's just, it works really, really well. And it's, you know, it's kind of a graphing program, so you have to, there's a few steps, and again, yeah, I think, actually, probably if you go to Harvey Meyer's website, you can probably find it on there, and it kind of explains how to go through, but, you know, I'll put my contact info, and if you're interested, just get hold of me, and I'll tell you, you know, you can come take a look or whatever. Because it works really well. So, and you can, this one's got 72 lines this way, and you can, you know, vary that however you want to vary, you know, so some of them I do have 80 and some have 96, and you get any more than that, I only have a 12-inch, well, big enough for a 12-inch, so I'm only doing 7-8-inch pieces. But if you get too many lines in there, I find it just gets so busy, it looks like a mess. So there you go.
Very nice.
Trade?
Yes, sir, thank you.
And I'm thinking that's it, I think. Everybody showed what they need to show? Perfect. You bet.
How many hours went into that piece?
Probably, the turning is the quickest, the burning is the longest. It takes forever. And no, I just, I do it all by hand, just a wood burning tool, just a razor tip with a special pen that blocks. If you, someplace in the States that Harvey Meyer recommended, so these special pens, probably 10 or 12 hours all over. Okay? Yeah, it works good.
Well, thank you for those who brought stuff out. I asked if you guys have any ideas on turning for next month. What would you like to see? Did anybody come up with anything?
Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Let's get a hold of Dave Campbell and see if he'll bring us better. I think he's just about, he's pretty much.
Is it?
I think so. I'll phone him.
See how long he would take.
Yeah, I'll phone him.
Because it won't take all.
No, well, he'll have a whack or something that could spin off. It won't take long.
Yeah. Did he ever come up with a price for that?
I think with the cutter, don't quote me, but I think it's going to be $850.
Anybody else have something that they want to see turned next week or next month?
Well, you can turn on those wine bottle holders.
But who's going to bring the wine?
I was going to say, some people bring the wine, not the top of it, the holder.
It'll look better as the evening goes on.
Bring the wine and forget the holder.
Yeah. Just hold your wine.
I think we should start thinking about Christmas decorations, seeing as how it's September now.
Yep.
If you people want to make decorations, you gotta start pretty much.
Oh, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Where's Bob? Bob's not here. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see Bob Shep's video on turning little angels for Christmas. That's pretty cool. And Birds has a different ornament every year. I think you've got them all done for this year, haven't you?
I got mine done for this year, yes, I started in April because I made threaded acorns. And on my my friends and family's list, I'm up to 75. So I had to thread 75 acorns, little walnut acorns, they're about that big.
Must be a big family.
So yeah, getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Everybody likes Bert.
He's nuts.
Acorns. Got it.
But that's right, now's the time to start thinking about Christmas ornaments, because it does take time. I spent over 2 weeks trying to figure out how I was gonna make these acorns, because I knew I had to make a lot of them. And I wanted to thread them, because I wanted, the first ones I made was just hollow acorns, and they looked really neat, but they're too simple, so I thought, well, I gotta be unique, so I made the threaded acorn, so both the lid is hollow and the body's hollow, and they thread together. The initial idea was to, especially for kids, is to put something inside it, like a little Hershey chocolate or something, or a couple of chocolates in the acorn, so then there'd be a surprise. Right? They have a Kinder surprise.
Bert, I think you can get a lump of coal that'll fit there too.
Surprise.
Yeah, but then they'll have to pay tax.
Or a
And it might
folded up
stay in the
$50
wood.
bill. Hey Bert,
What's that?
folded up $50 bill will fit too.
They would, yes, they got really, really good. I'm gonna probably, I'll send you an acorn if you want to fill it.
Don't expect it to come back.
Send him 6, Bert.
Yeah, send them 6.
This sounds like a pyramid scheme.
Yes.
Well, we're done rather early. Anybody else, anything you want to talk about, or anything you would like to see, not just next month, but upcoming? I'm not sure how we're going to be for bringing in guest turners. Right now, Canadian Woodworker is not open on weekends, so that kind of puts the hold on us having a weekend workshop.
So when you say that the meeting's gonna be a demonstration, the whole meeting's just gonna be a demonstration? I wouldn't mind then if we could at some point have somebody with the segments, how to cut them, how to put them together.
Yeah, I was thinking
How to do
exactly the
the
same
other
thing,
one.
right?
What's
The
that?
other thing is, you have I guess an online program that you can actually put up on the screen and you can actually do the design on there. And it's free, I forget the name of it now, but I have a tough time kind of following that bloody thing.
That's that Bob Marley Turns probably.
Yeah, you just expand everything and then it tells you how many pieces that you need, angles and...
Software I use, you actually pay for it, but it's pretty cheap. And it's a very good program.
But,
Yeah. He's got a couple out.
The author is Lloyd Johnson down in the States.
Yeah. He's got, his first suite was instead of 3 programs, one was strictly designing the outside of your vessel. And the other one was for stacking the rings. And then he has another one that for doing laminations and cutting them and gluing them back together to make different patterns. You know, like very simple thing of that is like a zigzag.
well, the one I have, you didn't have to pay for it, but all you do is you just go on there and you just do the shape you want, and then from that point on, I kind of get blooming lost because then I can't find the pages that's supposed to print out to tell me how many pieces of this, and that's length I need. So
The one I use now is Lloyd Johnson's latest one, and I think he calls it Segmented Pro. And it calculates how many segments, it gives you the cut and everything. But the other feature of it is you can do, it calculates for open segments and what they call painted segments. I think maybe some of you guys have seen some of the urns that I've made. It's different colored blocks to make the design. And that's all wrapped up in that one program. And it makes it real easy because when you start doing that painted stuff, you got to build your rings with the right pattern, and then it gives you the layout after. That you design, it's just a square page with a bunch of the required number of squares.
Yeah.
And you just color them in with the appropriate wood. It actually takes pictures of different species of wood and paints those segments with that as wood.
All right, nobody just done walnut.
Zone segment pro. Yep. Look up Lloyd Johnson. Yep.
I've got the program, I'll have to.
There's lots of freebies out there.
Yeah,
Lots of freebies.
let you have a look at it. I think you put me onto it, if I remember. Because I didn't want to pay for anything, I'm cheap.
Lloyd Johnson does that.
Well, I did that, you did that one big workshop.
Yep.
So I understand what you're doing, just a program for that.
They're-
Right now, it's all E and then paper and pencil. And I
Yeah.
just need to get that done.
Lloyd makes that much. It's super easy.
And it's, I think it was only like,
Yep, pretty reasonable. Yeah, 56, I can't remember.
Use it, it's just whatever.
Yeah.